is up, everyone? Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. Let me turn this music down a little bit. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the Music Industry Convos. We're going to call it a podcast because we're on a podcast. We're live on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who's watching and watching the replay. I'm your host, Classy Beats from classybeats.com. And of course, we're going to be talking about everything in the music industry, from music news to music finance, music business, and most importantly, your music journey. So shout out to everyone who's here and is watching in the chat as well. Wherever you're watching, I definitely appreciate you. This show's going crazy and growing a lot faster than I thought it would. So it's cool to see everybody in here. Let me give a couple quick shout outs in the building. We got Prince France in there. B Royal is in the building. Rose Gold Felons in here as well. Appreciate you, Rose Gold Felons. Good to see you. I know it's been a minute since I've seen you over here, so appreciate you being here. Who else we got here? Big D Wright's in the building. And then we got B Royal. Of course, I think I shouted him out. So shout out to everybody in the chat. If you didn't see, I did drop a poll in the chat, so I want to know what you guys think. Johnny Woo Raps is over here too. On the topic of today. Today, we're going to be talking about the age-old question, and I'm hoping that we can kind of put this conversation to rest about quality versus quantity. So I see a couple of y'all have already voted in the chat, so I appreciate you. If you don't see the poll, you can vote over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. For those of you who are watching over on the Music Industry Convos channel, also appreciate everybody who's watching over there. We're trying to grow that channel. My goal is to get that channel to 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you're watching on the Classy Beats YouTube channel, I appreciate you. If you want your voice to be heard as well, you can super chat over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. So you can go over there and I'll make sure I read any comments that are dropped via super chat. It means a lot, really helps the show. So I appreciate all of you for doing that. And also make sure you go and watch and subscribe on the Music Industry Convos channel. I will remove this stream from the Classy Beats YouTube channel once the live stream is over, but make sure you check out the Music Industry Convos YouTube channel. It'll be live over there forever, so as long as we have that channel going. So shout out to Henry Resilient in the building. Appreciate you, man. He says like the stream, the #1 moderator over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. Always good to see him in there. Y'all go check out Henry Resilient. Henry, make sure you drop your channel in there so people can go check out your content. And shout out to Stizzy Mac over there too. He says, what up, Classy? Quality is the vote for that one. Yeah, I think I'm glad to hear that y'all are giving your opinions on the topic already. So make sure you stay until the end, because like I said, we're going to have an opportunity for you guys to come up and join the show and give your opinion via video. Maybe we can have a little debate about quality versus quantity and see if someone can change another person's mind. So it'll be fun. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, shout out to everybody who's watching and liking the video. We've already got 10 likes in here, 10,000 likes, 10,000 people in here. So this conversation kind of came to my attention again. You guys know I love the MEC podcast. Shout out to DJ Payne 1 and Dame over there doing their thing. But on the last episode of their podcast, was it this one on Monday? I think it was it was the one this Monday. DJ Payne 1 played a video from a guy who was talking about a video that Russ made. So a lot of you might not know who Russ is. He is one of the biggest independent artists, the most popular independent artists right now. He started like a lot of us started, and most artists start from the ground up and kind of really built this entire empire off of his music. And he's got a lot of, in my opinion, good advice, great advice for people who are trying to get into the music industry, whether you're an artist or a producer. And he's just killing the game right now. He's done touring. He's doing a lot on social media. So he had a video to where he talked about basically consistency and how much you should be making music, how often you should be uploading music. And a lot of you may have seen it. I think it's kind of gone viral, actually. And then there was a guy that is an A&R for a record label that responded to the video and was saying what Russ was saying was actually bad advice, which I thought was interesting. So shout out to Henry Resilient too. Let's see what he says in the chat. He says, quantity wins for money when it comes to streaming. Quality wins for accolades. Think Drake versus Kendrick. That's a good point too. So very, very good point from Henry. He said quantity wins when money comes in when it comes to streaming. Quality wins for accolades. That's an interesting take. I would love to know what the chat thinks about that. So I think I would somewhat agree. I think quantity, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, quantity not only factors in when it comes to money, but it factors into every part of music creation now. And like I said, we're going to get into that into a little bit, but in most cases, especially with music creation and music being so readily available, you have to factor quantity into everything that you're doing. So, and I think that goes into the consistency conversation, which kind of what Russ is talking about too. So shout out to Johnny Woo over there showing support too. Henry also says Drake has a miss every now and then. That's true. But he also, how often does he drop though? That's something you have to factor as well. And Henry says, quantity makes people not miss you. Yep, that's something we're gonna get into as well. So, also shout out to Henry Resilient with another super. I gotta get my sound effects set up. Hold on a second. Let me give Henry a round of applause because he's currently the sponsor of today's show. Get the money counter in here too. Appreciate you, Henry. What does Henry say? He said, look at Chris Brown dropping 50-track albums. Yeah, that's a good point as well. So is it better to drop that many albums and just make as much music as you can, or is it better to release singles? We're kind of going to get into that and talk about it. And of course, my guy CG Beats is in the building. Shout out to CG Beats. He said, got to do both consistently. Man, CG has got it. He's giving away the secrets of the show. So shout out to everybody who's in here so far. And I'll be reading a couple of y'all's chats throughout the show too. So let me go ahead and put Henry Resilient up there because he is the sponsor of today's show. So let me edit that. He's always over here showing love. So I appreciate you, Henry. And thank you for your super chats. Again, if you guys want to contribute to the show and support the show, you can do that on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. But make sure you also subscribe to the Music Industry Convos channel, because once these live streams are over, the replays will only be available over on the Music Industry Convos channel. So I'm going to share my screen here, and what we're going to do is first I'm going to play the video from the guy that responded to what Russ said. Let me get this right here. And then I'm actually going to play Russ's original video. So I'm going to play this. You guys drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear what I'm playing over on my screen, and then let me know. And then what are y'all saying in the chat? Hold on. Let's see. I dropped the... Oh, B. Royal said he dropped the dissertation for me. Yeah, I'll read your comment. What does B. Royal say? He says, this is for small and large artists. Your favorite artist drops a new album that pushes the boundaries of their artistry because they've been locked in the studio focusing on quality to nurture. That's a great point, and we're going to talk about it again. So I appreciate y'all giving some feedback and your thoughts on that one. So let's get into it. Let me know, is the music too loud too? Because I feel like last time it was loud. So I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit. All right. So let's see what Russ had to say, and then let's hear the guy responding to him. And shout out to Ski Mask Jordan. I don't follow him on Instagram, but or on Twitter, but he was the only one who actually was able to find and share this video, because I think the guy who posted it, he took the tweet down, or the video down. So I guess he was catching a lot of heat for it for some reason. Anyway, so let me do one more thing here real quick, and we'll keep this show moving. There we go. All right, so here's the video. Let me know if y'all can hear it. All right, so let me stop it there for a second, and then I'll rewind it and play through the whole video. So if you guys didn't see this, do you think that's what Russ was saying? Because I don't think he said anything about quality versus quantity, but we're gonna go into it in a second. But Oh, you said you can't hear anything? Okay. All right, hold on a second. So let me unshare this. We're going to remove this. Let's see. I don't know why StreamYard is doing me dirty. All right, hold on one second. Let's go with... I'm going to find it and get it right. All right, here we go. Y'all should be able to hear the audio on this one now. Let me add it back to the stream. All right, let me know if you can hear it. Let's try this again.
If you're not putting out music consistently, it doesn't look like you are taking your music serious.
All right, can you hear it? Drop in the one in the chat if y'all can hear it. All right, we're good to go. Okay, I know what I have to do next time then. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and start this video over. Here we go.
If you're not putting out music consistently, it doesn't look like you are taking your music serious.
Russ, that's really bad advice for artists. I'm so sick of people preaching this message of basically quantity over quality.
Okay, so this is where I was pausing the video. I didn't hear Russ say anything about quality versus quantity, and this goes back to, I think, what CG was saying in the chat, is Russ is talking about more so consistency, but we're gonna get into both of them. So let me keep playing the video.
I don't know why people keep seeming to treat streaming platforms like social media platforms and thinking you have to like feed the algorithm. If anything, the more frequently an artist churns out releases, the more DIY it feels. As a record label A&R, all the independent record labels I know, they do not get their artists to churn out releases constantly. They are carefully thought out, structured campaign release timelines with video creative, photo assets. It's all very, very professional. And when I'm digging for new artists to sign and new music discoveries, one of the things I'm looking at is not release frequency. The direction will always be more important than the speed. Naughty Russ.
If you're not putting...
All right, so let's go back and kind of break this down a little bit. Let me see if I can get a better view. All right, here we go. So Russ starts out by saying this. He says, so we're going to go back and actually watch the full video of what Russ said, but I really want to focus on the response here. So let's go back and see. Russ is saying,
if you're not putting out music consistently, it doesn't look like you are taking your music serious.
All right, so it says if you're not making music consistently, then it looks like you're not taking your music seriously. So what you guys, let me know in the chat what you think about that. If you're not making music consistently, it looks like you're not taking music seriously. I can definitely agree with that. I mean, the one way, so imagine if we're watching a sport, watching basketball, and we only got to see one or two games a year, right? We probably wouldn't be the biggest fan of that sport if they were only playing a few games. And I think growing a fan base, consistency is the biggest thing you can do. Now, what that consistency means, does it mean like with me, when I'm uploading beats, I'm uploading beats every single day. I'm uploading beats twice a day, sometimes 4 times a day, going crazy. I think that can be different from person to person. But a lot of the issue I think artists run into, and I talked about this in previous live streams and podcasts, is that they make an excuse, or they use the excuse that, well, it's art and I want it to be free flowing and I don't want to feel like I'm kind of in a box and constrained when it comes to music. And then they get upset when they don't grow their fan base or don't grow fans from that. And to me, I don't think you can have it both ways. There may be some people who can, or they worked hard enough in the beginning and were consistent enough and putting out the music that they need to at the beginning, and then they got to a point to where they could only drop a certain amount. But in today's digital age especially, I think consistency is more important than anything, and that kind of leads into the quality versus quantity subject, which I think this guy's going to talk about. So let's keep going on that subject. Let me know what y'all think in the chat.
Us, that's really bad advice for artists. I'm so sick of people preaching this message of basically quantity over quality.
So he says that's really bad advice for artists. I don't know who this guy is. I think Russ kind of can stand on his own 2 feet when he talks about being consistent, because in my opinion, he's one of the artist who has a great story when it comes to consistency. But I think it's really good advice what he's saying. If you don't post consistently, people aren't going to take you seriously. They're going to forget about you, and your music is just kind of going to get lost. So, yeah. And again, what are the excuses for making consistent music, right? The tools are out there. You have apps like RapChat, BandLab. You have places you can go online. You even have DAWs that are fully available online, like Cakewalk, for example, by BandLab. And there's a bunch of other ones. You can get FL Studio for free on your computer. Even who is it? Adobe has a software now to where you can record something on your phone, and it actually uses AI to make your voice sound better, like it was recorded on something higher quality. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I think it's really up to you, and the ball's in your court as far as how much you want to create. But anyway, let's break down a little bit more of this video and see what this guy's saying.
I don't know why people keep seeming to treat streaming platforms like social media platforms and thinking you have to like feed the algorithm.
All right, and this is the part that kind of drives me crazy. So he said he doesn't like it when people start to treat streaming platforms like their social media platforms and thinking that you have to like feed the algorithm. Guys, like it or not, if you're in music and you want to be successful in the music industry, you have to understand the business side of things. You have to understand all the algorithms, how they work, and everything we do around music is based off of an algorithm. I mean, think about how videos even go viral. Even this video that he posted, it went viral because it was based off of an algorithm, right? If everything were, this fairy tale land where it's all organic and things just grow, no, you have to consider the algorithm in everything that you do. You can't, if you factor that out, you're only going to fail, and you're only going to be frustrated because you're creating the music you want, you're enjoying the process, but nobody wants to hear it. And that may be because either you're not being consistent enough, you don't have the quality, you're not producing enough, or you're not just getting in front of enough people. So if you take the algorithm factor or the social media type factor out of the music, then you're, in my opinion, you're not going to be successful. And that's why music in the music industry and record labels put so much money into it, so they can feed and generate more favor in the eyes of the algorithm. Everything that we do now is based on an algorithm. So anyway, let's keep going and breaking down this video.
If anything, the more frequently an artist churns out releases, the more DIY it feels.
And I don't know what that means. I don't see. All right, in the chat, I want you guys to tell me what is the downside to releasing more music, because he's saying, that it feels DIY the more that an artist releases. And Stizzy even said, or somebody even said in the chat, I mean, I'm not worried about it. We make bangers all day, so so it doesn't even matter. Who was it? Sainted Fish says. Yeah, he said shit. Well, I can't cuss on YouTube. He said, we make bangers all day long. And if you feel that way, then put the music out there, honestly. And if people like your music, why not release more? I don't see a downside to releasing more music. Like, imagine, I'll take myself, for example. Imagine if I were to only release one beat a week. Yes, I could be successful. And yes, I think it would do well, and people would still want to listen to my beats and purchase my beats and record over my beats or whatever, because I have the quality beats. But I would be more likely to be successful if I released more and more and more beats, because then I'm putting more information into these algorithms like this guy is talking about, for it to be able to show it to more people and to show it to the right people. And I think that's the thing, because essentially these algorithms are gatekeepers. Unless you're going door to door and handing everyone a flash drive of your music, you have to understand and work with the algorithms, or just pray to the Spotify and Instagram and YouTube gods that somehow this one person finds your music from record label X and then it just goes crazy. So I think people who use these points and give this type of advice, they're doing artists a disservice, because you need to be, one, obviously working on the quality and working on your craft, but you need to be releasing as much music as possible. And I'll talk about why, I think, when he goes to his next point in a second.
As a record label A&R, all the independent record labels I know, they do not get their artists to churn out releases constantly.
Okay, so he said he works for a record label, so I guess he's some kind of A&R, and he said record labels don't tell artists to churn out releases like that. And I get it, but what do record labels do? When they have a song that they're working out, right? This is all an investment in them. Again, this is Music Industry Convos. We're going to talk about everything from the business side and from the music creation side. So when a record label pushes a release, they're putting so much money and so much effort behind that because they want to get a return on their investment, right? So what would be your first thought if I don't have this amount of money to put behind one release like a record label does? Then maybe I should just put out more releases more often, and that way I can not match the traffic that a record label is going to get just because they're putting so much behind it, but I'm actually putting the energy and the time into producing more content. That way I can gain more fans and be more effective. It would be nice too. It would be great if I could just make one beat a month and then put some money behind it and shoot a video and do an entire press release behind that one song or that one beat. But I think for the average artist and for the artists coming up, and even artists in the past who have since blown up, with Russ being the example, they started out that way. They started out just making music, putting out as much music as possible, and people started to listen and find out about them. So I don't agree with him at all. I mean, I get he works with a record label, but I would hate to work with a record label that isn't encouraging me to make and produce more music, because how are you going to even have the product to put out to people? So let's keep it going.
They are carefully thought out, structured campaign release timelines with video creative, photo assets. It's all very, very professional. And when I'm digging for new artists to sign and new music discoveries, one of the things I'm looking at is not release frequency.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay to me if an A&R is not looking at release frequency. I get that maybe A&Rs and record labels don't care about how often you're making music. They just care about, again, the numbers that you're doing. So, again, I would argue if you're focusing on marketing yourself to a record label, wouldn't you want to give yourself more of a chance to have a song that goes viral, or to have more people hear your music by feeding, again, the thing that he's against is the algorithm. So record labels are looking at that. They want to see the numbers you're doing. They want to see, he's saying he doesn't do it, but they want to see what you're releasing. They want to see how many fans you have. They want to see how engaged those fans are. So I think that's, again, important and goes to the quality versus quantity when it comes to actually releasing music. So let's keep it going.
Direction will always be more important than the speed. Naughty Russ.
All right, let me
Release
see this
frequency.
again. What does he say? He says the direction will always be more important than the speed.
Direction will always be more
I don't even know
important
what
than the
that
speed.
means.
Naughty Russ.
All right, so let's go back, and he made a response to that initial video that he said. So I wanted to play this, and I thought it was interesting. He made a response basically explaining what he meant in his first TikTok. So, and let me know what y'all think in the chat too. So let me see if I can share this tab, and you guys tell me if you can hear this. Hold on a second. So drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear this.
My video response to Russ to be that controversial.
All right, drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. And shout out to everybody watching. We got over 10,000 people watching the show. Thank y'all so much. This is going to be a good conversation. And again, make sure you stay in the end, because some of y'all who agree or even disagree, I want you guys to join the show so we can hear what your thoughts are. All right, so let's rewind this then. He gives a response.
Wow, I did not expect my video response to Russ to be that controversial. The main message from his
He was
video
catching some
was
heat.
that if you want to be taken seriously as an independent artist, you have to be putting out music consistently. And
Okay, so all right, I'm going to play through the full video and then we'll react to it.
wow, I did not expect my video response to Russ to be that controversial. The main message from his video was that if you want to be taken seriously as an independent artist, you have to be putting out music consistently.
Okay, so I said I'm going to play the whole thing. So he said, and we're going to play Russ's full video in a minute, but he said the main point of Russ's video is if you want to be taken seriously, you got to put music out consistently. Here we go.
And the main point I wanted to make was that artists that don't put out music consistently deserve to be taken just as seriously. Now, obviously,
that's not what he said at all. Did anybody get that from his first video? He said that the main point he was trying to make is that artists who put out music not as frequent, I guess is what he's saying, should be taken seriously. That's not what he said. Okay. I lied. I said I'm going to play the video. I'm going to stop. I'm going to play the video all the way through, and then we'll go through and break it down. Here we go.
Wow. I did not expect my video response to Russ to be that controversial.
I'm going to shut up.
The main message from his video was that if you want to be taken seriously as an independent artist, you have to be putting out music consistently. And the main point I wanted to make was that artists that don't put out music consistently deserve to be taken just as seriously. Now, obviously, there are artists who can churn out releases without sacrificing the quality of their music. Obviously, that's true. But it's also obviously true that some artists need a lot of space and time with their art because every artist has a unique relationship with their creativity. Obviously, that's true. Everyone knows there's not one single blueprint for every artist.
He's moving the goalposts.
That was my main issue with it, is that he didn't say like, oh, if you're a beat maker, here's some tips for releasing. It was, if you're an independent artist, you need to be doing X.
sees it.
And that was the main thing that got under my skin, was that it was a very blanket statement without any of the nuances about, like, if you're a band or if you record your music in the studio, naturally it's not as easy to churn out releases because it's...
All right, so what I'm going to do, let's go back to his original video. So I didn't finish playing the full video, but we'll go back to that one because he just kind of goes on and is shuffling, as CGA likes to say. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. But let's see if he said any of what he just said in his response video in the last video that he made. All right, let's go.
You're not putting out music consistently. It doesn't look like you are taking your music serious.
Russ, that's really bad advice for artists. I'm so sick of people preaching this message of basically quantity over quality.
Which he didn't
I don't
say.
know why people keep seeming to treat streaming platforms like social media platforms and thinking you have to like feed the algorithm. If anything, the more frequently an artist churns out releases, the more DIY it feels.
All right, so first thing he said was, Russ, that was bad advice. Second thing he said was, don't treat music platforms like they're an algorithm. And the third thing he says is artists who put out more music, it actually feels more DIY, which is in some way a negative thing. I don't hear anything about not taking other artists seriously, but let's keep going.
As a record label A&R, all the independent record labels I know, they do not get their artists to churn out releases constantly. They are carefully thought out, structured campaign release timelines with video creative, photo assets. It's all very, very professional. And when I'm digging for new artists to sign and new music discoveries, one of the things I'm looking at is not release frequency. The direction will always be more important than the speed. Naughty Russ.
The direction will always be more important than the speed. So again, I didn't hear anything about not taking other artists seriously. So I think he kind of switched up on us a little bit. But anyway, let's keep it going. Shout out to everyone who's in here. We've got over 10,000 people watching. I appreciate it. If y'all could like the video, that would be great. So let's go back to his other video, and it's 2 minutes long, and listen to the whole thing. So
I did not.
My guess is he probably got an email from his record label. It's like, hey, don't tell people that. It's not good advice. So here we go. Let's rewind it.
Wow, I did not expect my video response to Russ to be that controversial. The main message from his video was that if you want to be taken seriously as an independent artist, you have to be putting out music consistently. And the main point I wanted to make was that artists that don't put out music consistently deserve to be taken just as seriously. Now, obviously, there are artists who can churn out releases without sacrificing the quality of their music. Obviously, that's true. But it's also obviously true that some artists need a lot of space and time with their art, because every artist has a unique relationship with their creativity. Obviously, that's true. Everyone knows there's not one single blueprint for every artist. So that was my main issue with it, is that
I would disagree.
he didn't say like, oh, if you're a beat maker, here's some tips for releasing. It was, if you're an independent artist, you need to be doing X. And that was the main thing that got on my skin, was that it was a very blanket statement without any of the nuances about, like, if you're a band or if you record your music in the studio.
So all Russ said was that, and I'm not here to defend Russ. I don't know. I just know Russ's story. I've never actually listened to any of his music, but I know his story and what he did. And the more I researched him today, what he's done as an artist has been crazy, and it aligns a lot with the way I think and the way I run my music business. But all he said was you need to be consistent to be taken seriously. How is that? I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat. Is that a bad blanket statement? To me, being more consistent is only going to benefit you. So I still don't know what this guy is saying, because if you go in the gym every day and you're trying to work on your free throws, if you're consistently doing the same motion, taking the same shots, then eventually you're going to get better and better and better, and the reps will only make you better. So I still don't see what he's trying to say here. Anyway, let me rewind it a little bit and let's keep the
blanket
video
statement
going.
Without any of the nuances about, like, if you're a band or if you record your music in the studio, naturally it's not as easy to churn out releases, because
it's not easy, but you still need to do it. It's not easy to go in the gym every day and lift weights or work out and run on the treadmill. But if you do, you're going to get stronger. You're going to be in better shape. You're going to look better than everybody else. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's keep going.
it's expensive and the creative process is a lot longer. I just hated the idea that there would be artists watching that video who aren't very consistent with their releases, and they would feel less than, and they might feel that, like, they're never going to make it because...
Oh my gosh. Guys, this kills me. No, it's not. He's saying he feels bad for artists who aren't posting consistently. Why would you feel bad? Okay. And this might be controversial. I don't know. So if you see a guy, he's or a person, let's just say a person. You see a person who's strong, they've got muscles, and they're walking out of the gym, and they're going to the beach, they've got their shirt off, they've got their six-pack abs, and they're looking amazing, right? This guy is saying that person who goes to the gym every day is cool and it's good for them, but he feels bad for the person who went to the gym at January and they were working out, they weren't really feeling it, and then they see this person at the gym, they're like, hey, you need to go to the gym, and he feels bad for that person that someone's telling him he needs to go to the gym if he wants to get stronger. I don't subscribe to that mindset at all. I wouldn't feel bad for anyone who's not working on something that they're trying to achieve or be good at. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it shouldn't be handed to them, right? If they're not putting in the work, why should they have the results of someone who goes to the gym every day versus someone who started at the gym in January and then they quit and then they started and going to the gym the following year, right? So to me, that whole mindset, I think, is way more damaging than telling people to be consistent. Because what is the end result? If you tell somebody, hey, it's okay, you don't have to go to the gym every day, you don't have to work out that often, and you'll be fine, you'll probably still get the same results. Or telling somebody, okay, I'm not telling you have to go to the gym every day, but start out by going to the gym once a week, and then work your way up. Start out going to the gym twice a week, and then work your way up to that and start going to the gym 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and be consistent about it. Is that person going to be at a disadvantage or advantage? It clearly, they're going to be at an advantage. So I don't know where he's getting this mindset from, but I think it's really bad, and it's not good advice. And what's Scooby-Doo saying? He didn't say not to put in the work. He was comparing artists that release daily versus ones that release. Let me put the chat up there so I can read it. He didn't say not to put in the work. He was comparing artists that release daily versus once a month or less. All right, so let me play the video through then. So let me go back and rewind.
And they would.
So my issue is his issue is what he's saying is that he doesn't like Russ's consistency point. And I don't know what you could not like about the consistency point, Scooby-Doo. So that's what I'm saying. He's saying, oh, I don't like you saying, talking about consistency because I feel bad for other artists. But why would you feel bad about telling someone to be consistent? So let's rewind. Maybe I missed something. Let's go back and see what he said.
And out releases because it's expensive and the creative process is a lot longer. I just hated the idea that there would be artists watching that video who aren't very consistent with their releases, and they would feel less than. And they.
Okay, so Scooby-Doo, this is what I'm saying. He said, I feel bad for artists who aren't releasing consistently. He didn't say I feel bad for artists who aren't putting in the work. He said, and this is what I said with my gym analogy, going to the gym at the beginning of January versus starting in January the next year versus somebody who goes once a week, twice a week, they're going to have better results. He's saying he feels bad for artists who aren't working. And that's where I'm like, it doesn't make sense. So let's go rewind it one more time, and then we'll keep moving because we got a lot to get to. Let's go.
This is a lot longer. I just hated the idea that there would be artists watching that video who aren't very consistent with their releases, and they would feel less than, and they might feel that like they're never going to make it, because that's not the truth. You could have an artist that puts out a new track every single month for a year, and then you could have an artist who drops one single 4-track EP in a year. And if that second artist puts a lot of time and energy into their release strategy, there's nothing to say that that won't make a bigger impact.
Oh
and
my
it's not
gosh,
specific to
this
Russ.
is crazy.
If it could have been some random person with like 100 TikTok followers, I still would have stitched the video. I've seen so many people on TikTok over the past few years, like banging the drum about like release frequency and releasing more, and it always gets under my skin. I just think there are so many other more helpful things to talk about. Anyway, a bit of a tangent there. I just wanted to clarify some of my thoughts on the Russ video.
Yeah.
Because I'm bored of having the same conversations in the comments.
So this is the problem, and this is why we keep having this conversation. So Scooby-Doo, I hope you're still in the chat. I'm still in the chat and still get what I'm saying. This is why we keep having this conversation, because people like this, and it's not a personal shot at him. I don't know him personally. I'm just attacking the point, so not the person. So I want to make that clear. The point he's making doesn't make any sense, because first he said, I feel bad for the people who don't release as consistently. And then he said, also the people who release once a year, a 4-track EP released once a year, could do better than the person who releases once a month. That's true, but what's the likelihood? He's basically telling you guys to rely on luck, right? Instead of, because he's, I guess, for whatever reason, and working for a record label, this is a huge red flag. He is so anti-algorithm that he doesn't want to focus on the fact that you do need to make music consistently and unfortunately frequently, did I say that right? Frequently, if you want to be successful today. And the likelihood of you being successful if you release frequently is only going to increase the more music you make. Think about it. Guys, think about how many users are on some of these apps creating and putting out music. Music is everywhere. Even go look at some of these Spotify playlists. There'll be 100 spots on this playlist, over 500,000 listeners, right? So you think putting out one track or an EP once a year, a 4-track EP once a year, is going to help you to be successful? No, I mean, and attention, again, yeah, great point. Attention spans are only going down. So you got to stay in front of people. You've got to be consistent. And that's the only way you're going to win. So this is just, I don't know. This is just really bad advice in my opinion. And it's not really my opinion. Just if you look at how these algorithms work, the more consistent you are, the better outcome you're going to get. So this has really made me angry. First of all, one, that this I hope he's not giving this advice to artists on the record label, because I don't think record labels even think this way. And I've talked with several A&Rs. I've talked with a lot of people that work for record labels, and this is not what they think. because it's different once you actually get into the record label, because they want to focus on a single or a song or an album that's going to give them the most return. But when you're trying to build a fan base and you're trying to grow, similar to what Russ was talking about, you have to be consistent and you have to be frequent. So shout out to some people stopping by. I appreciate y'all. Jex on the beat says, what up, Classy? Good to see you. And what does D'Angelo Howard say? He said, I'd rather have one quality song versus 10 songs that are trash and low quality. It takes time to make quality, but nobody can make 5 songs in a day. Yeah, and I don't think anyone's saying you make 5 songs in a day, but to get that one quality good song, what did you have to do? You had to have a bunch of quantity, right? You had to keep working, you had to keep making songs. So that's the part of it that I think is kind of an issue in a gray area. It's like, well, are you going to release those songs, or are you going to keep them hidden away? And there is a tactic, and I love the way Russ did this, that we're going to talk about in a minute, as far as what Russ did. So anyway, what does Stubby Doo say? He said, I agree with the algorithm, and to succeed, you need quantity. Think he's saying if you can only afford to get in a pro studio once a month, don't lose hope. And yeah, well, hope is great, but you need to have a plan. And you need to have a plan to be consistent. So instead of being like, oh, well, I just can't afford it, or I don't have access to a studio, you need to find a way and figure out a way to be consistent, whatever that looks like. Now, if consistent for you is dropping once a year, then okay, that's still consistent, right? But again, going back to the gym analogy, you can't expect to have the results of a person who is releasing more frequently. And that's where the quality versus quantity conversation comes out to me. So let's see. And what does Lady B says? She says, and that's why we have you for good music. Oh, appreciate that. Again, if you guys want to let your voice be heard and support the channel, you can super chat. So I'll be reading all the super chats that are coming in too. And make sure you subscribe to the Music Industry Convos channel, because I'm trying to grow that channel as well. But you can't super chat there yet, but you can super chat over here on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. All right, so let's keep it moving. I think we're good on this one. I want to go and play the full video. It's only 56 minutes of what Russ actually said. So let's go. I'm going to share this one, and you guys let me know if you can hear this. So here's what Russ actually said in the initial video.
So I was just talking to an up and coming artist.
And hopefully this doesn't get flagged, because he's got music in there. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit.
To share the message with y'all that I was sharing with them. People will only take you as serious as you take yourself.
Yep. So he said, people will only take you as serious as you take yourself. And this is the video that the other guy was responding to.
And if you're not putting out music consistently, it doesn't look like you are taking your music serious, or you're taking being an artist serious. If you're putting
Yep, exactly. So I'll let the video play. I keep interrupting it because it's got music in it, and I don't want this video to get a copyright strike. So y'all bear with me as I interrupt the video.
As serious as you take yourself. And
yeah.
If you're not putting out music consistently, it doesn't look like you are taking your music serious, or you're taking being an artist serious. If you're putting out one song every 5-6 months, it doesn't look like it's that serious to you. So why would other people take it serious?
Yep.
And there's a lot of things going on in people's lives where they got to balance this and juggle this and do all this. The reality is sometimes you need to be patient in order to be consistent. So
yeah, sometimes you need to be patient in order to be consistent. And we're going to go into this in a minute, but that is a great point. I know even when I first started making beats, I was making beats at the beginning, and it was tough. And I wanted to put out everything, and some of the first beats I made, I'm so glad I didn't put them out just because they were so bad. So I actually had to take the time to learn. I had to learn my craft, and I had to get comfortable, compare, use reference tracks to listen to other beats and be like, okay, I'm starting to get my sound to where it sounds like a beat that other people are rapping over or that people are listening to. So now it's time, boom, I'm going to start releasing. So I just started making beats, and I am where I am today. So let's keep going with this one.
You might have to not put out music for a year, and it might.
Yeah, and I'm gonna mute this, and I'm just gonna read the caption. So he says, so you might have to not put out music for a year, and it might feel like you're taking a step back. But if that's how long you need to go, to record 20 songs that you love so that next year you can finally be consistent, which is great advice as well. And he said, and get people to take you serious. So, yeah, I absolutely. Let me see if he's saying anything else.
Get people to take you serious as an artist, then that's what you have to do. But one song disappeared for 5 months. One song, it's not going to do it.
Yeah, so I wish the guy who was who had remixed this TikTok would have played the whole thing. And I know again, attention spans today are so short, and people just want to take small snippets and pieces of content and break it down. But I think what Russ said makes absolute sense. If you're more consistent, people are going to take you more seriously. They're going to see you're putting in the work. I mean, even for myself, whenever I put a post out or if I do a live stream, I always see people comment, I see you working, or, oh, I see you uploading consistently. I see you doing this. I see you doing that. So people are watching, and they're looking to see if you're going to make more of what you're doing, even if they don't like it that much, but they see you constantly working. I think there's just something that we see, and people realize, wow, this person really loves and is committed to what they're doing. So let me check out some more of their stuff. With the live streams I do on Mondays and Friday, we've seen that trajectory go up and up and up and up the more shows that we do, because people are starting to get used to and understand what we're doing. They like what we're doing, and they want to be a part of it. So anyway, shout out to Russ for dropping that TikTok. I think that was a very, very good point and is great advice as well. So I think the next point I wanted to read and talk about is he actually tweeted something similar to this shortly after he posted this video on TikTok. So I wanted to read a couple responses to these and see what you guys think, and also react to them as well. But what are some people saying in the chat? Let me see. So Lori said, quantity for novices, though. Get your flow and vibe right so you can know what determines your quality, and then go from there. Yeah, I think that's great advice as well, for sure. So appreciate that, Lori. All right, so let's look at this one. We're going to share this tab, and there's nothing to read here. Hopefully you guys can see this on your screen. But this person, so Russ tweeted out, and I couldn't find the original tweet because it looks like he deleted it. I don't know why he deleted it. I had it saved earlier, and now I can't find it. But this is kind of along the same lines of what we were talking about. So basically, Russ was saying, you need to release music consistently, and if you don't release music consistently, then you shouldn't expect to be successful, which is kind of the point I was trying to make as well. So let's see what this person said. He said, releasing a song a week for a year isn't feasible for everyone, especially if you work full time with multiple jobs and hella debt. All right, let me read the whole tweet and I'll break this down. Especially if you don't know how to record /mix /master yourself cleanly. I hear what you're saying and I'm doing my best, but ish is hard as F, bro. Again. And shout out to Stained Fish, who said, yeah, we're going to say pause on this. He said, it's hard. Yeah. And that's my point. It's hard. It's hard to make it to the NBA. It's hard to get 1 million followers on Instagram. It's hard to get 1 million streams on Spotify. It's hard, but that's the reason why the top 1%ers and the top 10%ers and the top 20%ers are where they are. Not because they got it easy, and maybe some of them did. They had the right connections or what have you, but the majority of people got there because it was hard and it was hard work. So let's go back and break this down a little bit more. He said releasing a song for a week a year isn't feasible for everyone. I completely and 100% disagree. So going back again to my personal story, when I first started making beats, it was not easy. I didn't have a lot of time. I was working 2 jobs. I still have a wife and kids. So I had this whole different lives that I was living and trying to manage. And if I wanted to make the music work, I had to make it work. I had to figure out a way to do it. So I know from personal experience, yes, it can be done. Like you can still work 80, 70, 80 hours a week and still make music. Now, obviously making a song takes a lot more, I think, as far as writing and then mixing and mastering and leveling, but you can still, and there's people in the chat who do it every day. There's people who are on the live streams that we do on Mondays and Fridays who are working those 60, 70, 80 hours a week and still putting out high quality music. And then as you start to grow and start to be able to do more and you progress in life, regardless of the debt you have or regardless of the amount of work you have to do, you can always have an opportunity to be able to work on and make music. So guys, one thing you'll learn about me, and maybe this will cause the channel not to grow as much, but I'm a no excuses type person. So I'm not really going to ever give anyone an excuse unless it's just extenuating circumstances, because I have been there and I've been through it and I've been struggling and tried to make music, and I've always found a way to make it work or to get the music done, whether that be collaborating with someone else to make it easier on me so I don't have to carry some of the weight, whether that be putting money into something, taking what little bit I had and creating what I could. But this type of mindset always makes me sad, because I don't think there should be any excuse. We've all got excuses. We all got stuff that we're working on and that we're dealing with. And then what he said, especially if you work full time and have multiple jobs and hella debt. I've been there. Especially if you don't know how to record, mix, and master yourself cleanly, then you just learn. And like Russ was saying before, you take a break, you pull back, you work on your craft, and then you find a way to release consistency. I didn't come into this earth making beats, fire beats. And someone argued they're still not that fire now, but hey, that's all right. But I didn't come into this earth making fire beats. I had to work on it. I had years even that I was working on it, learning the software, learning how to do it. And then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I know I'm making good quality beats. I can start to release stuff. So whatever that consistency looks like, it can still be done. So I don't really want to hear any excuses. What else does this person say? You know how to record and mix and master. I hear what you're saying and I'm doing my best, but it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. And again, it is going to be hard, but that's the nature of the game. So unless you win the lottery and get $1 million and don't have to work anymore, can spend time working 100% on music, I don't know of many people who have these success stories like a Kanye or a Jay-Z or a Rihanna or a Beyonce or a Russ, or even somewhere we're going to talk about here in a few, oh no, where did my tab go? A Katori Walker, right? So there's just, I don't ever want to hear that, you don't have time or you're working 2 jobs, just because for me, there's no excuses. So anyway, let's keep it going. I've got another one I wanted to share too. And this person I think was just trying to start stuff. But this person said, y'all are going to be mad. But as much as I love Russ, I think he's wrong on this. It's quality over everything for me. Russ just happened to put out quality bangers back to back, but most people ain't doing that. It's very few artists that can do this. Most need the time. And guys, again, this type of language just kills me. Russ just happened to put out quality bangers back to back. What does that even mean? It's just like Russ just woke up one day and right next to his bed there was this beautiful present with a bow on top, and he opened it up and it was just full of Russ bangers. No, he didn't just wake up one day and had a bunch of bangers. Like, he put in the work. He built up a catalog to where then he's like, okay, I'm at a point to where I can drop music consistently. And it just kills me when people have this type of mindset, because there's always a way. So if you have to work on one song, right? Say you work on one song a month for a year, and then you're like, these are good quality songs, I like it. Right? And then the next year you go and you get those songs done and you release a song every month. That's consistency, right? And then while those songs are releasing, you could be working on more songs, and then you can release once a month after that. And then maybe you work on more songs. You can release twice a month after that. Not saying that you have to do this, but there's a way you can be consistent without having this mindset of, oh yeah, well, it just happened. Like it's crazy. And what does Saint Fisher say? It took Russ almost 8 years to get famous, from what I heard. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it too. And Russ is not an anomaly, guys. We think a lot of people will make that excuse to say, oh, well, that's just Russ. You know, there's people that you've never even heard of that are doing well. And why are they doing well? Because they were consistent, because they learned their craft, because they didn't worry about, oh, okay, well, you know, is this like the greatest song ever? No. They just worked on their craft. So what are some of y'all saying? Roland Noah says Russ is dope. He's gonna put out quality. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Ari Beats is in the building. What does he say? Quality, but work until you have the ability to do both. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of what's going to end the conversation we're having today. But I wanted to share another video with you guys. And thank you for everybody who's here and liked the video. We got over 16,000 likes and over 88,000 people in the building. So thank y'all so much for watching. So this video, and let me make sure I'm sharing the right one. This video is basically Russ talking about how he started, and this is from 5 years ago, how he started, how he got to where he was, and his mindset behind the consistency, the quality, the quantity that he wanted to put out. So this is from Fuse. I'm going to say fair use on this, Fuse. I'm just going to break down and show it. So we're going to invoke our fair use on YouTube here so we don't get a copyright strike from Fuse. We may get one, but it's still worth it because we're having a conversation. So let's see what Russ says here.
You got to think about it. I've put out a song a week for like 2 years because
you put out a song a week for 2 years.
Up. Now you're telling me I get to drop an album every year? Like, all I got to do is drop 14 songs every year? Like, this is a joke. Drop like 60 a year. And it's what I've been working towards because...
Yeah, can y'all hear that? Make sure you let me know. Make sure you let me know in the chat if you can hear this. Drop a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna double check here and make sure that we're good. Make sure that we're good. Let me know, because I know sometimes it doesn't work. All right, cool. Sandy Fish, thank you. All right, let's rewind it a little bit and listen to what Russ is saying. He said he dropped 60 songs a year.
And it's what I've been working towards because before I got a SoundCloud, I put out 11 projects. And I stopped doing that because I had made a 12th one. Instead of just putting it out like I did with all the other 11 ones, I need to blow up first before I just put out another project on deaf ears. So that's when I came up with the approach of the song a week on SoundCloud.
So he released a song. He released a song a week on SoundCloud, and it's interesting what he said. He said he wanted to drop an entire project, which I assume he's talking about an album, but he didn't want it to fall on deaf ears, and that's huge on this quality versus quantity conversation. Imagine if he were to drop that album and nobody listened to it, right? Because you just don't know. That's another thing about consistency too, is you don't know what's going to happen. So say you put all this work in and you make this amazing album and then you drop it, nobody listens to it. Like you haven't even warmed people up to it. So you have to get yourself to a point to where you can do that. And I think Russ talks about that in this
First one,
video
I had
too.
like 25 songs in the vault. So you think about it, that's 25 weeks. I never was racing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I never was like scrambling like, oh my God. I was always, 25 steps ahead.
Yeah, and that's
I just
smart.
did this whole SoundCloud thing to literally blow up so that I can drop my 12th or my debut album. I'm just going back to what I originally wanted to do in the first place, which was drop albums.
So he said, that's so interesting. He said he had a goal that he just wanted to be able to drop albums. So what he did is building up to that is, again, he started putting out music consistency. Obviously, he had the quality at this point, so now he had to focus on the quantity, right? So he had to drop more music, and then leading up to this, and then he dropped a full album, and he had built up a fan base that wanted to listen to the music, which was crazy. So now he's just dropping albums. because people want to listen to his
I changed
music.
up the approach because I started dropping one song at a time each week.
Fair use on this video.
18 songs, you know, once every 3 months. Yeah, with my projects, I was just dropping a project.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. I don't know why this is having such a hard time loading.
It's just...
I think I got too many tabs open. Let me make sure we're still good. Can y'all still hear me? Let me know if we're still good in the chat.
Oh, I have, you know, 400 followers and I'm going to drop an album.
What's up, Twin Scratchers? Good to see you.
I mean, at some point, you're like literally crazy if you think, I'm going to just keep dropping these albums till something, and I did it 11 times, so like a little insane.
Exactly. All right. Oh, music. I don't want to get copyright strike. So yeah, basically, again, what he's saying is he dropped consistently. He built up to where he was at a place to where he built a fan base, and then he started dropping music. So I'm starting to see a theme here in a lot of these videos, and I think the main thing is just the consistency. So if you get the quality, you work on releasing quantity, and then you have to be consistent. So let's listen to another interview that Russ did, and I'm going to let this video play all the way through. Okay, we're still good. Good. This one is an interview he did with Gary V. Shout out to Gary V. And he was talking to a caller about his strategy and what he did when he first started releasing music.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you, bro.
No problem, bro. Basically, what is well, if you don't mind sharing, what was your strategy from going from like 0 followers on social media to getting to like 906,000?
Yeah, and Russ is going crazy, by the way. If y'all haven't looked at his numbers, I should have pulled them up.
But if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, it was literally put out.
Sorry, I don't know why this is. Let me
as much shit as possible at a high level, like quality. And quantity.
I think I've got too many tabs open, so let me restart this video.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you, bro.
No problem, bro. Basically, what is well, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, it's still a little choppy, so y'all bear with me.
From going from like 0 followers on social media to getting to like 906,000 and over, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe we can just play the audio.
It was literally put out as much shit as possible at a high level. Like quality and quantity. They always said, oh, you have to pick.
So Russ said quality and quantity. What do y'all think about that in the chat? So we've got the poll in here, and everybody is saying quality over quantity. We got 20 votes in. Shout out to everybody who voted. So y'all think it's quality, and Russ is saying it's both. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Is that kind of a cop-out, or does it have to be one or the other, or one before the other? What do you guys think? And I'll give you guys a chance to come up to the show at the end and give your opinion live. So let's keep going.
Quality over quantity. I was like, why can't you just do both? Why can't you have high quality and high quantity? And that's kind of what broke the fucking system. That's what did it, is that, you know, the first song I put out didn't get 1 million plays in the first day. The second song didn't either. The 50th one didn't either, but on the 98th one, it did. You know what I'm saying?
Was it actually 98, or are you just going to spitball numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it's 98, 99.
That's crazy. And Sainted Fish makes a good point in the chat too. He said, look how many tracks Juice WRLD did in 4 years, over 20,000, only 2K released. That's a lot of music. That's so much music. All bangers. Yeah, and it's because, like you said, he put in the work. He worked consistently. And then once he got to a point to where he's like, okay, I'm going to put this out. And maybe even before that, he's like, I'm going to start dropping, and started dropping like crazy.
And some shit like that. But content is key. Just put out a shit ton of shit. It just has to be good.
I love that. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Just put out a shitload of shit. I know I'm not supposed to curse on here, but.
No problem.
That guy is the best guy we've ever faced.
That's awesome. All right, so shout out to Russ on that one. But again, guys, it's the same thing we're saying. So when it comes to quality versus quantity, don't think those two things even matter as much as consistency. So is it quality versus quantity? No. To me, there's no argument for either. But we'll go into it a little bit more. But let's look at this one. Shout out to my guy, DJ Payne 1. He sent out another tweet. DJ Payne 1's always going crazy on Twitter too. So shout out to him. Make sure y'all check out DJ Payne 1 in the music industry, or I'm sorry, the Music Entrepreneur Club over on his YouTube channel. They drop there every Monday, and it's a great show, which we're actually going to show a clip from them too. But he said, what did he say this week? People get so upset when you tell them to put beats, songs, and content out consistently. Yeah, that is very true. He said, then cry quality over quantity. Take your time. No, you do not get that time back. Don't take your time. I agree with him 100%. He said, we know damn well producers/recording artists paralyze themselves with the illusion of perfection. Oh my goodness. I need a sound effect in here. That is so true. Not releasing music is stupid. Guys, there's nothing else to add to that. Payne said it all. Not releasing music is just dumb, especially if you're at a point to where you're making good quality music. And that being subjective again, if you like what you're making and you listen to other music that's out there and that's performing well, there is no reason, there's no excuse not for you to put out more music. It's just only going to benefit you. More people are going to hear it. More people are going to share it. The Spotify curators will see it and possibly add it to playlists, but you just sitting on your music, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm trying to end this conversation and just eliminate this quality versus quantity conversation, because it is, like Payne said, it's paralyzing because you get so stuck in, I don't know if it's that good. Just put it out there. So once you get to a point to where you know you're making good music, then you need to put it out there. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback too. That's another big thing. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a little break here for a second. Shout out to anybody who's here and wants to come up. Hold on until the end of the show. I am going to drop the link for you guys to join via video and jump on the stream live. Also, again, if you want to support the channel, you can do that by super chatting on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. But when you do that, make sure you also watch on the Classy, or I'm not on the Classy Beats channel, on the Music Industry Convos channel. I'm trying to grow that channel. And once the stream is over, it will not be available to view on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. It'll only be available on the Music Industry Convos channel. So appreciate y'all watching. So this is another super, super cool story. I'm going to introduce it. I heard this one a couple weeks ago from the Music Entrepreneur Club about this artist named Katori Walker. So y'all drop a Katori in the chat if you've heard of Katori Walker before. I had never heard of him until a couple weeks ago, but this is another artist with an amazing story on just how they started working, just put in the work, which I always love to see, worked on their craft, and then started putting out music and doing anything they could to make it. So Katori's actually, he's got over 876,000 followers and monthly listeners on Spotify, which is crazy. And I know, and this is what, and Ronola says, I've never heard of him. This is what I'm saying about your everyday artist. And I'm not trying to offend Katori at all, but artists are making it out here and doing it by being consistent and releasing their music. So we're going to go into a little bit more of a story. This is him. Some of y'all may have seen this video and didn't realize it was him. I don't want to play the video just because it's got music on it, but hold on a second. Let me mute this and then I'll play the video. So this is his Instagram. Oh, and y'all couldn't see. Sorry, I wasn't even showing the screen. My bad, y'all. All right, so let me share this one. So this is the screen. It shows Katori's Spotify. He's got over 876,000 monthly listeners. He is going crazy. And then on his IG, he's killing it on IG too. He's verified, which is cool. He's got 77,000 followers. But some of y'all may have seen this video from him and didn't realize it was him.
I heard so the good die young. What the fuck does that mean, really? Cause niggas tripping on each other, niggas tripping over colors, man. That shit kinda seems silly.
About why he
Do these
made
Black
this
Lives
video,
Matter,
where it
nigga.
came from.
Hating on that nigga shine because you ain't having, nigga. Go and kill your own kind. Who the hell matters, nigga? We worried about the police.
I realized it was Katori, but shout out to him. He's doing a bunch of crazy stuff, releasing music like crazy, and it's just super, super inspiring. So I'm going to share a clip, and let me actually reload this page before I do that, so it'll play all the way through. So give me 1 second. Oh, and I had it on chipmunk mode because this is how I watch all these videos. So let's go back to this point, and Katori is going to kind of share his story because you guys are probably tired of hearing from me and about my story. So this is a story from an actual artist who did it, who started out, worked on his craft, and then just put out music like crazy. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Yeah. So
let me turn it on normal. And again, the link to this video will be in the description once the live stream is over. So y'all make sure you go check out DJ Ping One on YouTube and the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. But yeah, it's super dope. So let's check it out.
I'm gonna give Katori an opportunity to give a little bit of his background, but he's been on my radar for a few years now. I actually tried to get him on the last 1 week notice project, but he was signed at the time. And talk about
the time to just be cool.
Katori, man, just you want to share?
Born and raised in Pasadena. I've been making music since I was 9 years old. My dad is a producer and a DJ, and I just was under his armpit. Like, I just wanted to be where he was, and I started off kind of like producing first, like the MPC 2000, the Trinity, the MoFat.
Like a lot of artists have
when
too.
Floppy disk was a thing. Like, that's when I started producing. And I just kind of took a liking to it after that, and just seeing what music could do and how you can literally like move the needle with music, and like how music was incorporated and everything, like
all right,
music
so let's
and commercials and playing, and I'm still producing at the time. And I just want to be a part of this thing. This thing makes me feel something. And to know what you want to do at a young age, like, no cap, I was like 12 years old, like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, and a lot of us started out that way too, which I think is why so many artists and producers just get caught up in the emotion, and they just take a lot of their music to heart, which I think is great, and a lot of the time it comes out through their music. But you can't forget and put aside the business mindset behind things too, because I think that's the biggest reason a lot of artists and producers get frustrated, because they think, oh yeah, just the music, and they're looking at record labels as the goal without understanding how much the record labels are actually putting behind these releases. So I think that's important, but one of my goals of this show is to kind of focus more on the business side, because you guys are so good at creating music on your own and showing you how you can push yourself and be successful in that way.
Like, so, and then I grow up, I get a little bit older. I'm in high school now. I'm playing sports and football, baseball, and track, but this music thing is what I'm running home to do. I'm not hanging out with friends. I'm not partying. I'm in the studio. Like, my dad had his own studio. He had like converted our garage into a studio. And like, that's what I did. My beats and stuff.
Let's fast forward
Army,
a little bit.
I was ready to go. Like, I was going to be out of here.
So I want to kind of skip to the part to where he talks about releasing music. So let me check. And he was actually signed to a record label at some point too. So basically, I want to share a little bit of that, just talking about his story, how he came up and how he started making music. And now he's going to talk about releasing music and how he does it.
I'm in therapy, bro. I'm a real big advocate for therapy. So I talked to my therapist about this idea, and he said, you can't be judge, jury, and executioner for your own music, right? So you can't try to execute the music and then judge it and then determine if it comes out or not. Make a goal.
Man, I'm going to let him finish, but this is such a great point.
Set a goal and put the fucking music out, right? Because us as people, we think we know what's hot all the time. Like, every artist has a story of, I thought this song was gonna go, and it doesn't. Oh.
Man, how many times have I made a beat or even made a song with another artist, and I'm like, man, this is the best thing I've ever made in my life. I'm gonna release it, and nobody listens to it. It's the worst feeling ever, but it's all a part of the process, like I was saying earlier. So again, we want to make the quality versus quantity conversation, but there's so many times when you think you make a quality song and it just flops. Like, how many times? Y'all tell me in the chat. How many times has that? How many times does that happen to you? You made a song that's like, this is the best song ever. I'm gonna release it, and it hasn't done it. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's terrible. And what does Saint Fish says? He says, I hate that. And what is D'Angelo? Shout out to D'Angelo Howard. He says, how about focusing on consistency, quality, and quantity? How about focusing on consistency, quality, and quantity will come naturally? Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. I can definitely agree with that. But yeah, Roll Nola says it's happened a bunch of times. Yeah, to me too. It hurts, man.
Or you have a song like, I didn't think that one was gonna go, and it goes.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
like you don't know. We don't know. Like even now in today's time, like the little Yachty song, I Took the Walk to Poland. He was like, yo, I was just fucking joking, and the shit went crazy. So it's like certain things.
It seems like the biggest hits are always the ones that you hate. Even with me, with beats, the beat that I don't like, or maybe that I don't want to say, but maybe that I spent less time on than I usually would, and I'm like, I'll just put this beat up here. That's the one that people love. That's my top seller on my beat store. By the way, if y'all want any beats, all the artists watching, you need beats, check out classybeats.com. But anyway, it happens to me so many times, and I'm just like, well, if that's what the people want, I'll keep giving it to them.
I think about even
shout out to Jesus. What's up?
Drake dropped So Far Gone. He was like, I didn't like my verses on Successful. I didn't like the way my voice sounded. But I remember what that song did for me. I mean, he didn't even really fuck with the record, but it's like, I know what that did for me. And that changed the way, like, that was my mantra when I was in like high school and shit. Like, yo, this song is powerful. I love this Drake record. But to know that he even struggled with them, I'm not really feeling the verses. I'm not really feeling the style. That means that, all right, cool. You have an idea of what you think is dope, but you still power through it and you put it out anyway.
Yeah, man, I love that point. And I hadn't heard Katori's music before, but as soon as I heard his mindset and how he thinks, I was like, I know it's going to show in his music. So I immediately went and followed him, listened to his music, and obviously he's a dope fire artist, so shout out to him. But I love what he said about not being judge, jury, and executioner for your music. Again, when you get to a certain point to where you know that, okay, I'm making good music. Maybe you're getting comments on Rap Chat or BandLab or on a YouTube video, and people are like, this is fire, I like this. You're getting feedback from your family or from your friends. They're saying, oh, this is cool, I like this. Then that's the point to where you just need to keep creating and get consistent. Then you've hit, as somebody said in the chat again, the quality and quantity will come as long as you're putting out and releasing music. And you can even use that as motivation. Obviously, you hear all these stories of people who started and they were only getting a couple plays on their music, only getting a couple comments, but they kept going, they kept pushing, and it worked out for them and panned out over time because they kept staying consistent and kept sticking with it. So I think that's huge. Let the community, let the marketplace be the judge. You just create dope music, and I think that's a huge weight off of your shoulders too.
And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's just like, yo, some of the shit I think, like one of my second biggest song that I put out recently is called Good Wine. I'll be honest, it's not one of my favorites for me, right? It's not one of my favorites, but it's just getting playlisted after playlisted after playlist. People sharing it, people posted it on their stories. I really love these songs. I got friends that's like sending me text messages, oh, I really love this record. It's like, it ain't up to me. Yeah. Once you put the music out, it ain't up to me. You know?
That's what I tell artists is like, just do a risk benefit analysis. Like what's the worst thing that could happen if you put out a song that doesn't get traction, right?
And that's a great point. That's exactly what I'm saying. What's the worst case scenario of you putting out music? Like, I don't know where this idea came from, and I'm sure some music industry people are going to watch this and disagree, but I don't know where this mindset came from that if you're trying to get a record label deal, right, which for artists is the main goal, or for producer, you're trying to get a such and such deal, the artist, they're going to go back with a microscope through every single one of your releases, be like, I don't like how that sounded. I don't like how he did that ad lib there. Let me see about this one. No, they're going to listen to the song that does well, and that will be the reason that they make you an offer, and they see the consistency and they see the work that you put in. I guess that A&R the guy who we played first, whatever his name was. Again, no offense to him. I just don't know his name. But he said that he doesn't look at that as an A&R. But they hear and see that music. They're only focused on what you're doing now. So that's why it's worth it to put out more music so you can get in front of more people and just gain more fans. So it makes the most sense to me. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have somebody that disagrees in the comments. But what are y'all saying in the comments? Twin Scratcher says facts. Johnny Woo, what did he say? He said, I submitted a track of mine called Always in the Shark Tank to Cito show. Shout out to Cito on the beat. It's fire. Y'all go check out his show too on Mondays. He said, of which he spent 15 minutes dissing hard, then loving. Kind of a viral moment. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's true. And that's the way it always goes, man. And what did Ronola say? One thing about me, I'm always going to drop. That's the attitude you have to have, man. Honestly, you got to stay in the gym. You got to stay in the booth, stay in that musical gym and keep working and keep pushing. Sandy Fish says, I actually do that. I fine tooth tracks sometimes. Yeah. I understand that as an artist, as a producer, right? You guys, if you were to see my mixing process, and you can see it, a little bit of it over on the Classy TV YouTube channel where I'm making beats, but I spend so much time on stupid stuff that doesn't even matter. And again, the beats that I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling it today. I don't even want to master this beat. I just mix it real quick and put it out. That's the one that goes crazy. So story, I tweeted this the other day, or I said something about the other day. It's like, how many of these stories, like Katori's or like Russ's or even like mine, are you going to have to hear before you accept the fact that overthinking it isn't even worth it? So whether it's the quality versus quantity conversation, like, just it doesn't matter. Quality is so subjective too. That's another thing. There's so many hit songs where the 808 is out of key, and I'm like, how is this song viral? How is this like a Billboard #1 song? It doesn't matter. Just putting in the work, putting out the music, being consistent, that to me is what matters. So quality versus quantity. I mean, I don't know. Let's keep it going with Couture.
Right? Like, the worst thing that happens is people forget about it and you move on to the next one. Right. But what's the best thing that could happen? The best thing that could happen is it could change your life. Mm-hmm. Like the best thing that can happen is it could change your life either because people really rock with it and the views run up, or we just had another cat on last week, Bari, where his song only got like 15, 20 streams, but the person who heard it changed his life.
I've seen that.
Yeah. The person who heard it changed his life. So worst case scenario, people forget about it. You're on to the next one. Best case scenario, life changing, and every option and there's obviously a ton of things that can happen in between. So why not just keep shooting your shots?
Yep. And that's a great point by Dame. But if y'all haven't watched this podcast episode, it was Katori drops so much game on this episode. So I'm going to have the link in the description. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you go and watch the full episode. Shout out to the MEC and Dame and DJ Payne 1 and Aaron, who's usually on the show over there. Doing a great job. I'm hoping to have a couple of them over on this show too. So if you guys want to, I know most of them, but give them a little nudge. Say, hey, you guys need to come on the Music Industry Convo show, and let them know. Anyway. Yeah, and I appreciate that, Ronola. He says, and you. All right, again, guys, last but not least, and there's a reason I put myself last on this list, just because I haven't accomplished all that I want to accomplish yet. I haven't gotten to near a Katori or a Russ level, but I want to just push home the fact that what they're talking about is possible, and I'm in the process of it right now and still working through it. So I want to go through and share some of my numbers again real quick, because I know you guys have heard this story a couple times now since I've been on the stream. So we've been doing the show. So this is where I'm at now. 61,000 monthly listeners. Let me pull up my profile too, and then I'll go back to this. So guys, this is all from making beats, and I'll tell you a little bit of my story. So you guys know how it started. just a regular person, loved music. I've been making music since I was, 6, 7. My grandmother taught me how to play piano. Then I took classical lessons, and then I learned how to play guitar, all that good stuff. Typical story. I got into college, I grew up in a very conservative Christian household. So I didn't listen to any rap music. I think when I was getting close to graduating high school, the first, one of the first rap songs I heard was like Ice Cream Paint Job by who made that? I don't even remember, but it was during that time. So, and I just really got into rap that way. I grew up listening to some R&B because of my parents, but again, it was all very, very new to me. So anyway, I started out like most, if not all of y'all did as well. And then I just got into producing, my first producing equipment when I was 22. And I never looked back since then. So right now I've got 61,000 monthly listeners. Excuse me. And it goes up and down. It fluctuates just like anything as I get added on to Spotify playlists and removed, and they update the playlist. So it fluctuates, but I've been consistently at 50 to 70,000 monthly listeners for the past like 6 months. And it took a long time to get there, guys. So I spent probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years working on getting beats on and off. Again, like I said, I had a family. I was working 2 jobs, didn't have a lot of time to work on music, but I worked on it consistently. I always made time to work on music. And then I got to a point to where I wanted to consistently drop music. So back in, it was 2019. I want to say March. I always get this date wrong, but I want to say it was March. Yeah, March. Oh no, February. It's February 11th or 12th of 2019. I started dropping beats consistently. And for me, that was just dropping a couple times a week. I started dropping a couple times a week. Didn't see anything happening much. Going into 2020, didn't see anything happening. And I was like, okay, I really need to ramp this up. So I ramped up and I started dropping once a week. And then I ramped it up even more and started dropping once a day, and then kept going through 2020, 2021, almost to the end of 2021. And I got added to my first Spotify official playlist. And then you see I had an increase in my monthly listeners, right? Which is crazy. And it was super exciting for me, but it still wasn't like crazy numbers. I was just doing maybe 500 to 1,000 monthly listeners here. And I could have quit, right, guys? I could have stopped. And there were times that I took a break. You can see here where things kind of dip in December. And I took a little break and I didn't upload, and then I got back into it. And then January of 2022 was when I was like, all right, every day I'm just going to do this, and I'm never going to stop doing this as long as I'm making beats. So I started going, and then that's when I got added to more playlists. People started following me a lot more. And you can see here now, since I started, I had over 500,000 listeners, which it's insane. It's insane to me. I still can't believe it looking at it. It gets me every time. And then the amount of streams I've had almost 2 million streams since I started back in February of 2019. So, guys, and then the amount of followers is constantly going up. And it's just on an upward trajectory for the amount of followers I have. So, guys, I'm telling you right now from personal experience, and not just on Spotify, that if you're consistent and you're making good music, then it's only going to benefit you. So I know there's times when you may only get, what was I getting here? I had 1 listener a day, and I was discouraged and wasn't feeling it, but it's totally worth it, because it's always going to work out and pan out, especially if you're making good music. So I will stand on that. If you're making good music and you're consistent, you will win. I don't know how many stories we're going to have to tell, myself included, before people get that. And listening to people who are saying, oh, don't feel like you don't have to put out music that often. Just do whatever you feel like. You can win the lottery and that can get you somewhere, but at the end of the day, we are in the digital age of music, and the algorithm wants more from you. That way it gets more feedback and understands what people want. And when they understand what people want from you, then they can get you to the right audience. And YouTube works that way as well. So here's another thing I like to show on my BeatStars page. I've got 9,000 followers, over 1 million plays on BeatStars. Look how many tracks I've uploaded. Hopefully you guys can see this. It might be, let me make the screen a little bit bigger. 1,500 plus beats I've uploaded to BeatStars since I started uploading 3-4 years ago. That's almost a beat every day for the past 4 years, guys. So it doesn't happen overnight, but if you're consistent, things are definitely going to work out in the end. All right. So I will say on the quality versus quantity conversation, I think consistency is more important over everything. Obviously, you need to put in the work, and that's across everything. That's on working on getting better. That's working on dropping music, working on dropping videos, and the rest of those things will come with time and as you practice and as you learn. So when it comes to quality versus quantity, you really have to have both. It's not either or, because even somebody who makes trash music, if they work on it and they start and they keep learning consistently and they work on it consistently, and even if they were putting out that music consistently, right, people are still going to see it. So they're going to actually see their progression, and they're going to see how they've grown throughout the years and what they're doing and how they've gotten better. And that can even be a part of your story. So I think this quality versus quantity conversation doesn't need to happen, because you really have to have both, but consistency over everything is the most important. So yep, shout out to everything. And what does Jesus says? He says reputation is I mean, with reputation, that's more of like an industry thing. I think where you're starting and you're trying to grow a fan base, it's better for you to start to get people to actually hear your music. Because, okay, again, reputation, right? Say that you put out, say there's two people. There's one person that puts out music that's okay, but they put it out consistently. And there's one person that waits that same amount of time and then just drops a super fire dope, the best song ever, right? The odds of that one performing better than the person who started and built up a fan base and was producing and dropping music is going to be lessened. And it's really not going to matter about the reputation, right? Because you're not going to have people who want to listen to it. So Jakey G is, again, I want to come back to the community. Jakey G is a prime example of that. We've seen him grow. Jakey G, he was struggling at the beginning. He was getting frustrated, but he kept working on it, and he's getting to a point to where he's getting better. And as people see that and as they listen to it, they're not going to give up on you. And even those people who give up on you, they aren't going to be real fans anyway, right? And maybe they could come back and listen to you at the end. But there's always going to be a benefit to releasing music. I just can't see a downside to it. You say reputation, I'm like, well, you don't really, if you don't have a reputation, then what do you have to lose, right? People are say, I'm never listening to that again. But then they see, as you're putting out more music, there are people that are going to enter into your, I don't want to call it a funnel, but there are people that are going to enter into your world at different points. So there might be some people that listen to you at the beginning and they're like, this guy's trash, I'm not listening to it. And then you keep working on it, you keep dropping. Then there's people that hear you get better and they enter into your world or your sphere at that point. They're like, oh, this person's pretty good, let me follow them. And then you keep working, keep releasing, keep getting better. They're like, wow, you have people that enter at this point and they hear you and you've gotten a lot better. And they're like, man, I'm fans, I'm going to share this with somebody else. So I cannot see a downside to producing or uploading or putting out more music. If it's not going to ruin your reputation if you're getting better, right? So what's somebody going to say, man, you used to make trash music back in the day, but now you're going crazy. Nobody's going to say that. They don't care. All they care about is the music that you're making now. And if they don't want to stay and see the progression, that's fine. I mean, they may not have been a true fan at the end, but he said, what else did Jesus said? We're all working for perfection or excellence. Working for perfection, I don't agree with at all. I think you're just setting yourself up for failure. Because again, there's songs that were out there, like Katori mentioned, that he thought were amazing. The mix was perfect, everything was perfect, it was done perfect, and it flopped, and nobody wanted to listen to it. So I think excellence more so than perfection for sure, because you can't achieve perfection. So anyway, what was one more thing I wanted to share with you guys before I drop the link for anybody who wants to come up here? I don't think I'm going to share that. Oh, and I didn't share my Rap Chat information too, but y'all see what I do on Rap Chat. I got over 500,000 followers on Rap Chat, and I've dropped all my beats over there as well. I guess I'll show it. Let me show this just for fun. Just to show y'all what I'm working with. There's my Rap Chat. Been on Rap Chat almost as long as I've been making beats, and I uploaded every single beat I uploaded to BeatStars. I uploaded here, and I uploaded to Spotify. So I've been doing it for a while, guys, and it paid off. So I don't know what else you want to say. And you could say, if you go back and listen to my first beats, again, you could probably be like, man, there's people who listen to that beat and it's like, I'm never listening to classy beats again. And that's fine. But I kept getting better, and people still kept hearing it because, again, you have to factor in the algorithm, right? So you're not just going to, that one person isn't the end all be all. There's so many people listening to music everywhere all the time that there's always going to be a new ear that hears your music, right? So anyway, yeah, no, you're good, Jesus. I appreciate you being here. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat for anybody who wants to join and maybe give their opinion on the subject. Yeah, appreciate you being here, Jesus, for sure. So if you guys have any thoughts or you want to join the live stream and have a back and forth, have a conversation about it, maybe even if you agree or disagree, you can come up. Just make sure you have your camera on so that we can see you, and I can make sure you're not going to join the stream and do anything crazy, because I know that's happened before. Let me stop sharing this. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who's been here. Again, thank y'all so much for showing up. And to Henry Resilient, the sponsor of today's show, let me go ahead and give him another round of applause. I put up the wrong banner. Henry Resilient is the sponsor of today's show. Thank you, Henry Resilient, for showing love. If you guys want to support the show, again, you can do that on the Classy Beats YouTube channel by super chatting and supporting the show. Let me turn this music back on. There we go. And I dropped the link in there if you guys want to join, maybe give some feedback. Johnny Woo said he's at the bath. That's fine, man. Let me read some of these other chats y'all had in here too. Shout out to Made of Rubber. What did Made of Rubber said? If you got childhood memories, it's easy to control you. I do not know what that means. Oh, I gotta read. I gotta go back and read your other chat, because I think that was in addition to the one you said. What did he? Let's see. What Saint and Fish said, can't win the lottery if you don't play. That's true too. Shout out to you. What Johnny Woo say? Classy a dime. I do really love this show. Can't donate today. New cards on the way. You're good, man. I appreciate you being here. That's just enough. All right. I see we've got somebody in the back room. If you could just turn on your camera before I bring you up to the show. That way we don't have any issues there. Let me turn down this music again. What else are y'all saying? Johnny Woo said, cream on the inside, clean on the outside. Ice cream paint job. Yeah, that was one of the first ones. And what else came out back then? There are a lot of songs I was first introduced to. So yeah, and a lot of people will say, oh, well, you didn't grow up in it. I mean, that's fine. I still had appreciation for it. The Carter 3 was the first full rap album I ever listened to. So shout out to Lil Wayne. I always say I owe him everything as far as making music, because if it weren't for him, I probably would have never gotten to this side of music. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right, let's see. We said Johnny Woo said Beatmaker Johnny Woo is a daily routine, but nobody needs to hear that yet. Hey, keep working, Johnny Woo. You'll get there. If I can do it, you can do it. Humble Vibes E says, hey, Seuss. Yeah, appreciate you stopping by and watching, man. Thank you. All right. Does anybody want to join the stream? Roll Noah, I see you, and I see you over there, but I need you to turn on your camera because a lot of times, oh, it won't let you join Sainted Fish. Let me drop the link again. Let me drop the link again. All right, let me give y'all a second. I will be right back. Hold on one second.
Lassie. Go ahead, CG. We're back. All right, thank you everybody who's still here. Appreciate y'all. All right, so it looks like, oh, there he is. All right, so we got Roll Nola in the background. Give me a wave, Roll Nola, if you can see me. I'm gonna bring you up here. All right, so let me turn this music way down. All right, so we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Roll Nola in the building. How's it going, fam?
Man, I cannot call it, brother. You know, man, I'm blessed, dog. That's all I can say, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate you watching and joining the show, man. It's good to see you.
Man,
again.
This show was real intuitive, man. It was real live. Like, I got a lot of knowledge in on this, man, for real.
Yeah, I appreciate you watching, man, and thank you for all the dope music you're releasing, too. I see you over there putting in work, always dropping
man, I appreciate
great
that,
music.
Man.
So. Yeah, for sure.
That.
All right, so what do you think about the topic, though, today, the quality versus quantity? We kind of threw in consistency in there, too. What are your thoughts?
Right. Okay. I kind of have a different perspective on it now because it was like at first I thought it was about the quality, you know. I want to put out great music at all times, right?
Right.
But listening to what you're saying, just put it out, you know, to get that algorithm going. That makes a lot of sense, you know, for real.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and we'll use you as an example, right? It's clear that you're making high quality music, right? Word. So if you could just figure out what works for you as far as consistency and then just keep building on top of that, man, it's only going to benefit you. And there's so many tools out there that can help you with the other aspects too. Like Spotify for artists, you have the ability to submit your songs for playlists there. So there's opportunities there. There's opportunities on YouTube. All right, I mentioned I think it was the last show that we did, creating shorts. Like there's so many things that you can do with shorts, and YouTube is really trying to grow the short sides of things. So there's a lot of traffic coming there. So even if it's like a visualizer, just, you know, maybe of you doing something or creating a short video using one of these other apps. So there's so much out there you can do, man. And all the music that you have, even music that you may have created in the past that you felt really good about, you can put out there. So yeah, it's good to hear that though. Cause I think the thing for me is a lot of people who are on the industry side, they'll say, no, don't put it out. You don't want to do that. Don't put your music out because, you know, you're wasting your reach. And I just disagree with that, because you hear so many stories of people like a Russ or like a Katori or even myself who have just put music out there, and we found not only is it benefit you because we've gotten the shots up, right?
because we just gotten a better percentage, but more people are going to hear it. So I don't see a downside to that. But
right, even like with Russ, right?
Yeah,
I know who Russ is. You know what I mean? So that means a lot. Like even that part there, but it's like just to hear him say and that what you played. Yeah, man. Like at one time, I was just putting music out, putting music out. I had 60 songs in a year at one time. It is like, wow, like I didn't know that at first. You know what I'm saying? All I know is the Russ that I know now that's popping. You know what I mean?
And I
he
think
was in the trenches too. So that
and that's what I'm saying too. A lot of people, they get stuck in the music creation side of it, and they forget that part of it, because Russ even said in that video, he had a whole strategy. He said, I had 25 songs in the chamber, and I knew the next year that I wanted to start releasing every week. So what I did was, the beginning of that year, I had 25 songs. I had half the year already done, right? Because there's 52 weeks in a year. He had half the year done. He had 25 weeks that he'd be working on the next 25, and then 25 weeks after that. And like he said, he was always 25 steps ahead. So I think especially once you've got the music down, a lot of artists just want to release, and then not think about that other side of things. But Russ really had a plan to where he's like, all right, I'm going to release this music, have video assets behind it, do promotions behind it, post on Instagram, wherever. And that's what really helped take that to the next level. So yeah, that's definitely a great point that you bring up. So there's so much to it, especially once you get the music right. I mean, the sky's the limit, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Because definitely, I'm gonna say this: like even the songs that I'm putting out now on Rap Chat, for instance, these are old songs. There's a lot of songs I just went back in and revamped and I redid this and I redid that. I went looked at YouTube videos. How can I make my mix better? How can I make my presets better?
Yeah.
And I did that.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. We've already got, there's a lot of artists out here that probably have more than 25 good songs, and not even close to trash songs. They're good. I mean, they're really good songs, and they're just sitting there, or they're, like you said, they need to be updated. So you could update those 25 songs or 52 songs and just have them ready to release and put something behind those, and you could be working on new stuff. So
yeah, man, sky's the limit, brother. The sky's the limit, man.
It is, man. And this isn't, again, I'm not trying to be on here giving false hope, because you see so many stories of people who are done it and who have done it, myself included. I know it's a little different with beats, but once the consistency is there, the algorithm will begin to learn and understand what you are as an artist, who most relates to you, and they'll start to show that to more of those people, and your fan base will grow. It's that simple. So if you only do one release, it's going to be harder for that one to grow versus if you're doing 10 good songs. So that's just how I feel about it.
And even on your on your account, right? I didn't know that before. Like I'm like listening to this right now. I didn't know you were just dropping and dropping and dropping, for a long period of time. When I came in on Rap Chat, I saw Class C Beats was Class C Beats. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get your Class C Beats, because Class C Beats is Class C Beats at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like right now, you telling me, bro, it was a struggle. It was a fight. I had to get to where I'm at to be Class C Beats right now, and I respect that, brother. Real talk.
Yeah, and there was, like I said during the stream, there was people who were rocking with me since I first dropped that first song on Spotify back in 2019, and there's people who were rocking with me when I was starting to gain traction at 2021, and people who are rocking with me now, right? And there were people who hadn't, like you said, there were people who hadn't heard of me until I got to this point. So there's always going to be steps along the way to where people are going to hear your music. And reputation, I think the reputation speaks for itself in the progression that you make as an artist. So some people will take it at face value and see where you are now and be like, like we said with Jakey G, like, he's not there yet. And in 5 years, in 2 years, in a year, then when they progress, they might come back, or somebody else will find you. So it's just worth it to constantly keep working and keep putting the music out there, because that's the only way that people are going to hear it.
Yes, sir. And that's the whole thing I took from this whole thing, man. Just keep dropping, man. Keep laying your music down. Do what you do, and people they gonna get it at some point. You know what I'm saying? At some point they gonna get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this conversation is not going to end here either. We're going to talk more in future episodes about the strategy behind it. So when we say drop music, a lot of artists and producers want to just put it out there and then be like, okay, it's out there, and then they get discouraged because they don't see any traction. But it's not just dropping the music. That's just one piece of it. There's other things that you have to do on top of that. But yeah, I appreciate you joining the show, man. It's been dope to meet you and talk with you and meet you in person.
For real,
yeah,
brother,
big fan of the music, and I hope you keep it up, man.
Thank you.
All right.
And I'm gonna say this. The realest thing Russ said, bro, was to not make it fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Don't let it fall on deaf ears. That's where people get discouraged at. Like, man, I put this out, but nobody listening. And it's like, okay, yeah, just keep going. Like, those deaf ears are going to be ears at some point. Like, the song that you did not get heard and did not get played is going to get heard and played. All it takes is one song. That's all it takes.
Yep. And it's compound interest too, because I can even see with a bunch of my beats I released on Spotify, people went back and listened to the ones that I released 2 years ago. So they're going to be there forever. People are going to be able to listen to it, especially if you make your own playlist. People can go, and once they become a fan of you, listen to those playlists of your music, of some of your favorite ones, some of the best ones you've had. So, man, there's only a benefit to dropping music. So I appreciate you bringing that point back up,
man.
too.
It was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure, brother.
Yeah, man. Let the people know where to find you and where they can listen to your music.
You know what I'm saying? I'm Ronola everywhere, man. Ronola, at Ronola, you know what I'm saying? On Rap Chat, Ronola, check me out. YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Anything. You pull up Ronola, streaming platforms, you know what I'm saying? I got an album out called Rhythm and Gangster, like Snoop Dogg.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. But put me up and you're gonna get that fire, man, that Creole, that Bayou music, that real New Orleans, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, sir.
I got this Steelers hat on right now.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that, man. What's going on with the Steelers hat?
It's New Orleans Tedamisha, bro. It's New Orleans all day.
Who that?
Yeah, it's Who that forever, man. But I just rap sometimes too with the Steelers, Yeah, man. Look, still black and gold.
Hey, there you go. All right. Appreciate you, Ronola. It's been great to meet you and have you on the show, man. We'll be back next Wednesday, so look forward to seeing you.
Man, you have a good one.
You too. Peace. All right. It's good to see Ronola in the building. Thank you for joining the show, man. That was awesome. All right. So we got one more person here, but I can't see. Your camera is off. Who is that? Oh, Sainted Fish. Sainted Fish, You gotta turn your camera on before I can bring you up here, just to make sure we're good. But yeah, that's a great point he brings up though. Like you just not letting your music fall on deaf ears. Again, like I said, we're gonna talk about that in future episodes of some of the things that you can do to help get your music out there and to let people see it. But at the end of the day, you really, especially at the beginning point of your journey, where you're coming up with a plan and strategizing of how you want to release music, you can't really rely on the numbers and the amount of people listening to tell you how you're doing, because it has to build up over time, right? Like you guys saw my Spotify numbers. If I had relied on the numbers I was seeing here, that could have been easily discouraging. I would be like, man, I'm going to be a 1 monthly listener per month person all the time. But I understood how everything works. I understood the algorithm. I understood what I needed to do to help continue to grow. And I worked on those things. I submitted to Spotify playlists. I shared my music everywhere. People got sick of me sharing my beats, but I made it work. And eventually it got to the right person. It fell on the right ears. And now people are listening at the tune of 60,000 monthly listeners a month, and I've had over 2 million streams, and that's just Spotify. I mean, there's other places too. So anyway, we got the man in the building, the one who's always over here showing support, Johnny Woo. I need to get my sound effects in here. How are you doing, brother?
Good. I'm running late. I'm kind of buzzed.
Looking all fresh. Look at you, man.
Management.
Oh no, we lost Johnny. Hopefully his phone didn't die. Oh, you're back. You're back. Yeah, Johnny, we can't hear you. You broke up. You broke up there for a second.
What about now?
Yeah, there we go. You're good.
I got a phone call. I guess one, kind of like NBA YoungBoy. He's an artist I've never really got into, just because a few times I've listened to him, and then hearing, he dropped so many albums in 1 year, that kind of deterred me away from even kind of investigating, like, to listen more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where like an artist like I love Jamie Foxx, I haven't heard, Blame It on the Goose or a good track from him in a while, and as soon as he does, I'm going to be all over that. So
right.
And then also, I think I wrote in the chat, like, when DaBaby switched up his flow, he took a lot of flack for that, and a lot of stuff for that, where I'm, a few months into my sophomore year, I'm still finding whatever it is. I've accepted I'm like a kind of a C average rapper, but getting better.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Where producing is obviously my next step, and just because I'm not a control freak, but I just love the creative process of what I can control. But back to the DaBaby thing, when an artist is constantly releasing and evolving within their art craft, I have tremendous respect for that, and especially when the critics are gonna say, give you shit. And as I said, with Always in the Shark Tank, I submitted that to Cito, and that's when Cito knew who Johnny Woo was, because he literally spent like 15 minutes. I was just like dissing on it so hard, the point where he's like, yo, I messed with you, Johnny Woo. And then I submitted the same track to one of your shows, and like, I really like that, Johnny. That's when butt flashed on the video, and you had to exit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess with all those drops and where the artist is in their career, and again with like YoungBoy, like how many albums should or can you drop? And where are you? More importantly, where are you in your career?
Yeah, and Russ talked about that. Russ talked about that too. He said, I had to build to the point to where I can just drop an album, like you're saying with Jamie Foxx, right? I could just drop an album and I know I'm gonna get a certain amount of listeners, right? So I think if you're not at the point to where you're getting consistent feedback, then you don't really have anything to build off of, right? So I think getting the reps in, getting your music there, and really getting feedback, I think, from the people around you, and even maybe just referencing other tracks is beneficial as well. Because then you can see, okay, I kind of need to keep working to this point, or I can see maybe this person, they got to this point and that's when they saw some growth. But for everyone, I think the journey is going to be different. So I would just say, if I were giving advice, and I don't really like to give advice other than to tell people to keep pushing, but just continue to grow and hone in on making the music sound good, make it to where people want to listen, and then you put it out there and let these platforms find the right listeners for you.
Yeah.
But there's also ways too, like with what you're doing with YouTube, that you can help accelerate that by promotion, by YouTube Shorts, because there's a lot of opportunity available. But at the end of the day, like I said, you're not going to someone's house and handing them a flash drive full of your music, right? So I could drop 5 beats in one day, but if they're not getting in front of the right people, it's not gonna make sense. So I think just figuring out what you can do consistently is the main. It should be the main focus, because once you do that, eventually over time, you're gonna see that the music gets to the right people.
Yeah, I mean, Rap Messiah, we first collabed a year and a half ago when we were like nobody, and then watch him come up, and we literally text daily. Because life just kind of interferes with things. But my thing with him is like, he is the raw talent, and honestly, he needs to focus on his craft, where marketing agencies exist for a reason, and where he could use somebody like me with my video and marketing skills so I could do my craft for him, and then he could focus on his craft. Again, accepting it's not like you're practicing your free throw. Why practice dunking if I'm a 3-point shooter? You know?
Exactly.
I'm a white guy with little hops,
Yep.
But then I guess knowing where your place is, because there's just who's doing it as a hobby, who's really going for it, and are they evolving?
Yep.
So
yeah, and that's the thing. Just being self-aware, obviously, and I think getting feedback from other people around you can help, but it's also not the end all be all. Like you said about the baby, people hated it when he switched up, right? And they're like, I don't like this sound. I don't think it sounds good. But at the end of the day, he kept going with it. He knew he enjoyed it. He liked making that type of music. He could do it consistently, and then it found his music found the right people.
Yeah.
So then he was able to go up from there. So I think even in your case, if that's the direction you want to go, I think that's cool. But if you're really passionate about and know that you can make good music and people are listening to it, I wouldn't let that go either. Just figure out what you can do consistently and work from there.
Totally. And not that anyone needs to know, but dropping I have a couple of music videos on the way. No copyright.
Let's go.
No butts or boobs.
No, you're good. The reason I said that is mainly for your YouTube. Obviously, I can catch it pretty quick on the live stream and be like, okay, we can't play this. But yeah, I just want you to be careful with some of those things on YouTube, because I would hate for all the work you put in to just get chopped because of a video.
No, it is incredible with YouTube and the technologies they've used from, with different songs, and then just the copyright claims, how quick they come in.
It's fast, man. Like I'll do a live stream for the Classic Critique show, and I won't see a copyright flag for a couple hours. I'm like, oh wow, this might be the one that actually gets through, and then nope. A couple hours to 3 hours later, it's just like boom, 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 6 songs. It's like you can't monetize this video. So yeah, the technology is definitely at its peak. So I think that's something important to look out for. But yeah, I always appreciate you, man. Let people know where to listen to your music and when you're dropping all that good stuff.
JONNYWOO raps. I'm like 400 hours away from being monetized on YouTube.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah, and I worked with some guy who does marketing. I posted a 3-minute video of us that we're first time I hopped on. That's like 4,500 views somehow. Like
really?
Yeah, I had to talk to my buddy. I was like, how did this happen?
I'm telling you, man, shorts. People sleep on YouTube Shorts right now. They are pushing. I'm getting the amount of subscribers I'm getting for shorts alone is worth it. But the amount of views I'm getting from just these simple beat posts that I made in Canva are getting like 1,000 views. I'm getting probably around 3,000 views a day just from shorts. So it's definitely worth it, man. Keep it up with the shorts. I think as the monetization starts to grow, we'll see a little bit of our reach come back from that. But YouTube is still trying to push it hard. So keep going with it, man, because it's going to pay off. I've seen it pay off too. So I'll talk about that in another episode as well.
And also with your showcase, I know you acknowledged one time doing a producer show for some of us artists, just listening to producers doing that. And then even if you were to put up a subscription thing of, because I know Ableton, I've known Ableton over the years, but like you doing kind of like an hour, because I'd pay for like an hour long poke around with class. I mean, you do that live already, but just like how to. So.
Yeah, I started a Patreon for the Music Industry Convos. You guys should be able to see the link in the description. So if you want to go over there, we'll be doing some content, some exclusive Patreon member content over there. So check the link in the description. Also on Locals too. We're over on Locals. So I've got some stuff coming soon that I'm working at. So I'll let you know and keep y'all posted about that.
Alrighty.
Appreciate you, man. Always good to see you, and I'll see you on Friday.
Sounds good, my brother.
Peace. All right. Shout out to Johnny Woo, always over there showing love. Let's get Sainted Fish up in the building. Give me a thumbs up, Sainted Fish, if you can hear me and see me. All right, we're good. There he is. What is up, man? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey,
how's it going?
Man? It's going pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you stopping by and watching the show.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Definitely love hearing you and all the stuff you're doing on Rap Chat and all your work. Big fan, obviously.
I appreciate it, man. Same to you. I love your music. You're killing it over on Rap Chat too. I hear you over there every day.
I appreciate it, man. Just like kind of wanted to throw out like being consistent with the quality. Like quality will come and go. Like for me, I've only been doing music since last March. I'm not going to like get into why I started doing it. That's going to come later. But, Rap Chat Studio, I started using this instead of my phone mic. But when I learned how to use my phone mic, it got better. With time, it gets better. You just keep going, keep grinding, man. Just like I think since March, I've done almost 3,500 songs.
That's crazy,
I've only dropped like 800 on Rap Chat, and I got the rest on iCloud. So
that's awesome, man.
Just keep working, man. Just keep working. I mean, some of them are good, some of them are crap, but
yeah, but you're getting the reps in though. That's the thing. Like you're building that music muscle, right? So
yeah, I see
that's
that.
Crazy that you only started in March. Wow.
Yeah, I mean versatility too. I mean, like I'd be trying new things. Like I dropped a heavy metal song. That one I was really controversial about because I didn't know if it's Rap Chat. I didn't know if people would like that. You know, and I think that one right there got me some definite recognition and stuff. And I've been busy lately, so I haven't really been recording. I just been dropping stuff that I had recorded. Because back in the summer and the fall, I went hard. I was doing like 20, 30 a day and just stacking them.
Sheesh.
So
that is crazy, man. That is super crazy. So shout out to you for doing that.
Yeah, shout out to Rich too, because he's a big inspiration on that, man. He really helped me in the game, and he's come a long way too in the game too. So
yeah, Rich is dropping, definitely doing well, and and I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next point. So one thing that we didn't mention during the show today was collaborations, and that's a big part. And another easy way that you can drop consistently, especially, you have Rap Chat, you have the remix feature, or you have on BandLab, I think it's forking that you can use to record on someone else's song. So even that, just someone hearing your verse on top of another person's already recorded song is another way you can gain an audience, and then more people will see you. So that's something that we'll talk about in the later show, but that's so cool that you're actually getting into collaborations too, because it makes it even easier to make music.
Yeah, man. And it's also too like being an artist and versus being a producer. I've tried to make beats, man. It's hard. And what you do
it's all hard,
dude. You put I don't. It's easier for me to write lyrics and just lay them down on a song. I think it's much easier, and I can be more consistent in that. And I've been writing since I was like 5 years old. I won a bunch of contests back in the day, but when I graduated, I just wasn't as consistent. And then just back recently, I just kind of like dug into my closet of poems and stuff.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And I mean, it's all hard. I've started and pretended to start rapping just this year, so I definitely feel the pain from all you guys writing music. But you got to start somewhere, and that's dope that you're working with it and
working and also too working with other artists too, man. That's key. Like I just did one with Godly. Yep. I never knew I would get a collab with Godly. I came on Rap Chat. I seen you. I seen Godly. I see all these guys. Fofo was really big when I got on there, now she's collaborating with me. She's getting back into the game. Me and her have a future project. Me and Miss London have a future project coming up.
Nice.
So it's a work in progress. It's a banger. It's a really good song, but I can't wait to work with that. But I'm working with other artists now, and I'm not on mainstream. I'm just on Rap Chat right now. We're just having fun at the moment. So.
Yeah, keep working, man. Keep getting those reps in, and eventually you're going to get to a point to where you feel confident in us to come up with a consistent schedule. and a consistent release schedule, and it's going to benefit you so much, especially now that you're making those connections and working with other artists. That's going to be huge. So shout out to you for that, man. But let everybody know where to find you. I know you say you're just on Rap Chat.
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. There you go. I have one on Spotify, but I am verified on Spotify. I'm everywhere. Just at Saint Fish, man.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Y'all go check him out. Thanks for dropping by the show. And make sure, I know I'll see you on Friday too. Make sure y'all go check out the show on the Classy Beats YouTube channel this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
shout out to the blonde too.
Hey, shout out to the blonde, a beast over there. All right. I'll see you later, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Peace. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to end it there. Thank you so much for everybody who watched the show, liked the video. Shout out to everyone watching the replay and showed support. Again, shout out to Henry Resilient, the sponsor of today's show and the #1 moderator over there on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. We're going to be back next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another episode of the Music Industry Convo Show. And then in a couple weeks from now, I've got guys, this is going to be a crazy episode. I've got a huge guest joining us for the show, so I'm still working out the details, but I'm super excited about this one. It'll be our first guest, and this is going to be an absolute banger. I'm so excited about it. So look forward to that. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Music Industry Convos YouTube channel so you don't miss whenever we go live. And also check out the Classy Beats YouTube channel, where we're going live every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time doing the Classy Critique Show, where we review your music and your beats. So I'll see you guys over there. Thanks for checking out the show, and we are out of here. Have a great day. Peace.